I feel like in society now we're chasing our purpose. We're chasing our purpose. We're chasing like what are we all here to do? What am I supposed to do? And I believe that I found the ultimate answer. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Limitless Conversation with Sean and sometimes with friends. And sorry, welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. I don't have a theme song yet, so that's gonna be our little jam, our little tune for now. Um, so I'm trying not to like smack my mouth as much because when I was editing the first one, I'm like, baby girl, relax. All right. So I'm gonna try not to do that as much this episode. But I know I told you guys we were going to be talking about 9 to 5 jobs this episode. Because at the end of the day, if you guys are new here, welcome. This podcast is all about understanding your limits and expanding beyond them, having conversations that I normally center around my life, what I'm going through, and how I'm expanding. 'Cause at the end of the day, I am no God. I am just me here sharing my experiences of how I live my life, what I'm going through, what's serving me, what mindsets are serving me this week, because I am forever evolving, forever changing, and you need different things for different seasons, right? So this is all about being limitless, understanding that there are infinite possibilities, infinite ways of thinking, mindsets, and that they are all allowed to be here in this world, right? So I'm just sharing the ones that I personally am vibing with at the time. And so I said we were talking about 9 to 5s this week, but upon sitting with that conversation, I'm like, actually, I want to have my sis on for that episode because we kind of had a very similar journey and it's something that we really relate over. And that's a huge part of the with friends portion of this podcast is that I have so many friends in my life that we relate over different things. And so when it comes to that topic, me and her have talked several times about that conversation, like getting a 9 to 5. So I want to wait and hold off on that episode until she gets here. Okay. But today, I want to talk about, I think I'm going to probably branch off into talking about purpose. But what I want to start off with talking about is that ideas are not yours to keep. Information is not yours to keep. And how did I come across this concept or this knowing, or this information, or this mindset, right? I realized that I was getting these downloads, and actually, it started with me getting channeled songs, right? So I remember like I was talking to my. It always starts with a story, you guys, right? Every episode we start with the story because that's how we get into life. We live life, we experience things, and then we learn and evolve through our experiences, right? So this was like a few months ago, like maybe 6 7 months ago, something like maybe a little bit longer than that, honestly. I was in therapy at the time and I was telling my therapist like I would be journaling and stuff like that, really sitting with my emotions, and these songs would start to come to me. Like these songs would come to me out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is that about? And she was saying, like, sometimes if you can, I don't know if she was saying this or I heard this somewhere, but it was a mixture of something like that. Somehow I came across the information that sometimes the soul, like the heart, sings things that you can't express. And the whole big thing about therapy is self awareness, right? And I was in a space at that time where I had not been being the most honest with myself about how I was feeling and things. Like I wasn't really as in tune with my emotional state as I am now. And so at that time, I would have these songs come to me. And I remember one of the ones that was so significant at the time. I was just leaving a like 3 to 4 year relationship. And I had already just moved out of my mom's house. At that point, I was having anxiety. I'm probably going to get to the point, but I was having anxiety at that point, anxiety attacks, this and at that point it was time for me to leave my relationship. So I'd already flew the nest, left my family's house. I had never lived on my own before, never been on my own before. I was now having this new thing of anxiety, and then you're like, you want me to leave my relationship. And I remember I was just driving and I didn't know what I was feeling, but I felt overwhelmed. And then this clip from a Whitney Houston song came to me, and it was like, don't make me close one more door. I don't want to hurt anymore. And I never, whatever the act sorry, oops, whatever the song's actually, about, it wasn't about the same exact thing, but it kind of was. It was my heart singing out to me, like saying, like, I am exhausted. I am tired from all of this change and all this evolution. And I was frustrated with, universe and source and just like, why are you making me go through all of these huge changes at one time? And like, this is someone who, I was deciding I was going to be with, potentially for the rest of my life. And it's like, don't make me leave this relationship. Don't make me close that door. I didn't want to. I fought it off for a very long time. And so I had a really bad anxiety attack, and I had to be honest with myself about where I was in that relationship, which is a whole nother conversation. But up until that moment, I had never really heard of people, and that's a whole conversation in itself, like dealing with anxiety and things like that. For me, my journey, what I learned through that's a whole other podcast conversation. But the message that was on me heavily the other day, and I want to share today, was that I had never heard people channel songs before. I'm not saying that people never did it. I'm sure that people had. I had just never heard that as being a thing. Next thing I know, I'm on, TikTok and social media, and I'm hearing these readings all of a sudden, and these people are talking about channeled songs coming through. And I'm like, what? I never heard of that before. Like, I didn't know that that was a thing that people were doing. And it was my first, like when I did it, it was my first time ever experiencing, hearing about it. And then when I saw it on TikTok, I'm like, oh my God, this is something that other people do. I was having a conversation with my sis, who I want to have on the podcast, and to talk about the 9 to 5. But I was having a conversation with her, and she was telling me that she had told her, her boyfriend this a really good idea that he should do. It didn't make sense for her and her niche because it was like more of a masculine thing, but it wasn't that she was interested in. It was something that he was interested in. But she was giving him this idea of a device that he could make that would really make it convenient for like cutting hair or something like that. Fast forward a few years later, he didn't pursue it. They didn't pursue it. The idea. Fast forward a few years later, someone else comes out with the exact thing that she was talking about. And this has happened to me as well, where I've had an idea to do something, or even like my first sunglasses company, Accessorize, right? I had never heard anyone talk about glasses with a persona. Never heard anyone really talk about putting on glasses and it taking on a certain personality and describing these glasses as actual like people. And that was my huge thing with my brand, Accessorize, right? Transform into a different persona. So I had the idea. Next thing I know, and I did open the company, but next thing I know, a few months later, as I was like kind of like not doing this as much anymore, there's another brand that came out, and she started to release her glasses with full on personalities and descriptions and all that kind of stuff. And her brand was really, really successful because she was also a really, really big influencer, right? In no shape, way, or form do I think that she saw my brand and took my idea. Let me be 100% clear. In no way or shape or form do I feel that. But what it reminds me is that ideas at the end of the day are energy. Ideas are beings just like us, looking and wanting to be expressed. And so the thing is that we get ideas and we sit on them for too long, and we don't actively go out and pursue it and move towards it. Well, that idea is going to make sure that it's actualized. That idea, that concept that you're dreaming of, that you're thinking about, is going to come to fruition. And so whether or not you're the one to bring it to fruition is totally up to you. The message that I want to share today is that idea that you're sitting on, don't treat it like it is yours to keep. Don't treat it like it is own. I know we like what's mine is mine. That's real. But at the end of the day, these ideas, these concepts have an energy and a spirit and a being of their own. And they are just simply looking for the person who is going to bring them to light because they want to fulfill their purpose. This is something that, if you think about, like, God wants to get this done. Whether or not you're the vessel that's it's going to get done through is totally up to you, because we also have free will. You're not going to be forced to do things in most cases, right? In a lot of cases. Now, of course, nothing is always the case. There's polarity, there's duality, there's, both sides of the story, but there is not an instance where like an idea is exclusively for for you if you don't take the initiative to make it happen. And so that brings me to the next conversation about purpose, right? And so that number one is the first message. So if you have an idea that you're sitting on, if you have something that has been on your spirit to do, know that you do not have ownership of that. Same thing with spirituality and universal knowledge, right? There's information that I'll be pulling, from spirit and from source. It's not information exclusively to me. I kind of think of it like there's just this infinite bank of knowledge that we can all tap into if we choose to. So when these ideas come to us, it's because we have matched the vibration of that idea. And it's almost like, oh my gosh, I love this analogy. Okay, I'm sorry, this analogy is coming to me. It's almost like a dating app, right? You swipe left, you swipe right. You and this person match, but you are not the only person that is a match to that person. You are not the only person that is a match to the idea. So do not go around treating these gifts and these ideas and these messages that you are receiving as if you have sole ownership over them. How, I mean, I think about like ideas that my friend's idea and even ideas that I've had that I know that I've had that I'm just not recalling right now, right? I think about like my friend's idea and how like you can look at someone actively doing something that you knew that you had the same idea or you knew that you were capable of and you're watching someone else do it. And the thing is like when I was thinking about this conversation initially, I'm like, it's not about the financial gain. It's not about the money that you make over it. It's about realizing like, wow, I kind of slipped up and let something magical fall through my hands, and everything is divine, so it happens as it should, right? And we're gonna ultimately all get to our path. Just the route that we take is really up to us. But I had this amazing idea and I let it slip through my hands. And I could have been living fully in that version or that portion of my purpose. So now I want to move into purpose talk. Okay, so there's definitely a change of outfit. Yes, because what had happened was, and if you guys are listening, you see nothing. It all sounds the same. But what had happened was I had recorded episode 2 and I kept zoning out after I had shared the first half of that message. And honestly, I don't think I could articulate it any better than I did. I didn't want to re-record the first part where we talked about dreams and I'm sorry, and visions and ideas and how they're not ours and we don't take ownership of them. I don't think I could have said it again any better than I had the first time. And so I didn't want to lose that because that message I really want to share. But I wanted to go into the second half about purpose and I kept zoning out and I just felt like it wasn't the right time to film it. But today I'm here and I'm back and we're going to talk about the purpose half of this conversation. Purpose has been really, really huge. In the space that we're in the world right now, we're all talking about it. What is your purpose? What is I want to be purposeful. I want to be intentional. We talk about that a lot right now at this time and age and this time that we are in the world and where we're going and living more purposeful lives. And so recently, maybe within the last 6 months or so, yeah, probably the last 6 months, 4 months, 4 to 6 months, I have been redefining what it means to be in purpose. And I want to talk a little bit about my personal journey as an entrepreneur. Everyone's purpose is different. Let me just say this because I want everyone to feel at home, everyone to understand that everyone's journey isn't to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. Some people's purpose is to be in tech working for someone else, is to be, serving someone else's vision. That is a great purpose because literally they can't function without you being in your purpose. So I just want to disclaim that. I'm going to share my journey personally as an entrepreneur, right? As someone who's worked a 9 to 5, as someone who has, lived both lives. I want to share to me what purpose has been or was, and then what purpose is to me now. So I was working my 9 to 5 job, and I worked in healthcare, and I would go to work every day, and literally I was okay, but I would find myself. This is when I noticed that things needed to change. Is I realized that I was living Monday through Friday. I was literally wasting 5 days of my week because I was just wanting Saturday and Sunday to come so I could have off. And I'm a Saggy, you guys. So I'm a Saggy, meaning Sagittarius. So freedom is like a huge thing for me, literally. And my biggest thing was I was like, I want to wake up every day and do what I want to do. I want to wake up every day and do what I want to do. That was, girl, you got charged. You got to watch your prayers. But I would say that I want to wake up every day and do what I want to do. I hate that and this is what I said. I hate that I rush my life away. I rush 5 days of my week away just to get to 2 days I'm too young to think like that. I like, it's not a good mindset to have. Like, I'm wasting my life away. It's how I felt. And yeah, my work environment, it wasn't the best work environment. It could have definitely been worse. But for me, it was a bad enough environment that I felt a way about it. So yeah, pandemic hit, my job decided to let me go. I was gonna say, watch what you pray, child. My job decided to let me go, which then propelled me into my entrepreneurship journey full time. Now, I had already owned my own sunglasses company while I was still working for my business. I mean, working for that company. I had already owned my own business, but I always felt like if I had more time, I would really be thriving here. So watch episode 1 if you want to hear more about time management and discipline, and really if that was actually true or not. If I had more time, what happened. But yeah, so I started a sunglasses company. I felt really good about that. I was like, yeah, my purpose is to help people feel good about themselves and transform into a new persona, and that's my purpose. And then I done that for some time, and then that got boring. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of was over it. And I was like, yeah, I don't like running my own business per se. I think I more so just like the marketing half of it, right? Like, my favorite part about it was planning the photo shoots. Oh my God, I loved coming up with collections. Like, so fun. So fun. I had a collection called The Girls. And in this collection, there was 5 glasses. There was one called At Me, right? She was like the mean girl, like, what's up, And then I had Trust Fund. She was like the real bougie girl who, like, daddy spent all daddy's money. There was another one called On the Prowl. She was like the spicy, flirty one that dates a lot. There was one called Copacetic. She was like super chill, super laid back. And there was one more. Oh, what was it called? It was the pink one. I don't remember. Dang, I don't remember. I'm blacking out. Yeah, I don't remember what the last one was called. But anyway, my favorite thing about branding, I mean, about running my business was branding, right? I loved that kind of stuff. It was so fun for me creating collections, planning photo shoots, coming up with the graphics, like designing packaging, like, chef's kiss. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. So I said, oh my God, my purpose is to do branding. That is the real purpose right there. Branding. That's it. That's the one. So I started branding. I started to brand for other people's businesses because I did because, like I said, that was the best part for me. Like, it wasn't necessarily running the business; it was the branding part. So I thought, oh my gosh, I get to now brand for other people, and I loved. I didn't know that that was the purpose when I was in it, right? I just know that I wanted to do that next, and I loved, like, people's reactions when I would help them brand. Like, when they would see their brand, oh my God, you guys, I one of the best feelings ever is seeing people's face light up when you show them their business and their brand, like, fully mapped out with mock-ups and designs, and they're just like, they're excited, right? They're in that energy where it feels good because they see the vision, it feels attainable, they're excited, they're ready to hit the pavement and run. And it's my favorite thing to see, like, their excitement. And I'm like, oh my God, that's it. Like, igniting this fire in people, and I get to be artistic and expressive. And it was also spirit led. Like, I was divine. I was a intuitive brander, right? So the colors, the designs, like, it would just come to my head. I would find images to help me, but it would just come to my head, and I would put together a mood board. And so that was my passion behind it. But then the purpose was also, like, helping other people with their businesses and helping them feel good and helping them get excited. So then that was that. So then I said, okay, cool. I enjoyed doing that, and then that got boring. Then that got boring. And then I started to do my social media. Now, my dream since high school was to be a counselor. At first, it was marriage and family counseling, and that was my initial. So I went to school for psychology. I'm taking my bachelor's in that. So that was always my initial thing. So I knew that helping people in whatever way that I did it was always my purpose. And so you can see that moved through everything. Transform persona, I was helping people be the versions of them that they wanted to be. Branding, I was helping people to brand and to create, to live their best entrepreneur lives, to feel empowered, to feel excited. Like, I was helping people to do that. Then I moved into life coaching space, where I was now sharing content. I would say, like, spiritual coaches, just being a spiritual, I don't know, life coach, spiritual sharer. of some sorts. And so I decided to do that, right? So then that was my passion. I was going really hard at it. I was really focused. I was doing lives every day, talking about my spiritual experiences, the insight, the wisdom that I had been getting downloaded into. And I loved it because people would comment, like, oh my God, I needed to hear this. Oh my gosh, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. Oh my gosh, I never knew how to articulate this. And I thought, wow, this is my gift. I felt that with branding, but I also felt it with life coaching and me being a content creator, sharing my wisdom. I don't, and that's what I would more so call. I guess maybe more so being like an impactor, influencer type of thing. I would call it more than life coaching. That's probably more so what it was. But anyway, yeah, I felt like this is my gift. Like the way that when people were saying, like, they couldn't explain it, but the way I explained it, and I've heard people say that a lot, like, Sean, you're really good with your words and how you explain things. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my gift. I'm so in purpose right now. Notice that I did 3 different things and I felt in purpose every time I did it. I found my purpose in everything that I did. So inevitably, a point came where I kind of died down with that. So yeah, everything I did, I felt really in purpose, really good about it. This is it. This is the one. This is the thing. And then it kept dying down every time. And what's funny is that this guy that was my boyfriend before at the time when I was like pivoting careers quite often. I think he saw me through 2 of them, branding and the sunglasses. And he's like, you just need to stick with something. You keep changing direction. You need to stick with something. And I remember being so offended by him saying that to me because I'm like, you don't understand. I'm just multi-passionate. I have multiple different things. And so I feel like in society now, we're chasing our purpose. We're chasing our purpose. We're chasing like, what are we all here to do? What am I supposed to do? And I believe that I found the ultimate answer to this conversation. For me, I have found the answer. Everything that I did, the sunglasses, the branding, the coaching, the influencing, right? The working for someone else within their business, all of it had one core. Like I said, it was to help people, right? Me wanting to be a marriage counselor was to help people. My purpose is not attached to any of those things. Those were my passions, and they were how I actively expressed my purpose. But my ultimate purpose is to be me. Was that anticlimactic? It's to be me. It's to operate in my gifts. And how I express it will be different. Whatever avenue I choose to express my gift, it will change because I'm changing. I'm evolving, right? I got a little older. I got a little sexier. I didn't want to sell glasses anymore from Alibaba. I didn't want to do that. I felt like I need to be the focus of my life more. I don't want to brand for other people's business. I want to be the brand. That changed, right? Those are the ways that I expressed my passion, but my purpose, but also my purpose is to authentically be me and share me, right? Even sharing me isn't necessarily, I don't have to do that. And the capacity at which I share me could change. There could be a point where I don't want to share myself with the masses anymore. I don't want to come on social media and share. It could be to share with my family. It could be to share with my husband, my life partner. It could be to share with my children. It's most importantly is to share me with me. My purpose is to be authentic, to explore. I have gifts, and I believe that my purpose is in those gifts. People have, and this isn't even a gift I gave myself. This is something that people have told me a lot in my life. They're like, Sean, you're a light. You have this light around you, this energy. I don't believe I should keep that light for myself. And the light isn't about people liking me. The light is about, I have this likability, right? But because people have a likability to me, I can share conversations like this. I can share my experiences. I can share whatever I'm choosing to share, and people are going to take more heed to it. I created people's brands. I shared it with them, and because they already they already had this thing that they wanted to create. I was simply the vessel to bring into their life. And because they like me, they were more open to hearing it from me. Right? Because people like me as a person, they're more open to hearing the message that Source Spirit has from them. I am literally the vessel here to experience and explore my gifts, and how can I express my gifts more to the world. My purpose is not wrapped in my passions. My purpose is not in my expression of it. My purpose ultimately is to be me, be authentic, live my life however the hell I want to live it. And I just happen to decide I like to share it. I like to share it with the world because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. And if a time comes when I don't feel like I'm supposed to do it anymore, I won't. But my purpose isn't wrapped up in a business. It's not wrapped up in a job. It's not wrapped up in a role that I hold for other people. Right? My purpose isn't to be a good girlfriend, a good daughter. That's not my purpose. Those have been ways that I express myself. My purpose is to be a light in this world. My purpose is to be a light in my life. I always say I used to take my light. And if you guys heard me when I talked about my different journeys, it was always about how can I serve other people, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's all of our purpose too, right? But I needed to stop taking my light and shining it out everywhere else, because I was looking for something when I did that I wasn't finding. I learned that I'm just going to shine internally and allow other people to warm up to my light. I don't need to insert myself into anything to be to validate me. So I took my light back and just internally gave it to myself, and in that overflow, and in that can share more, and in that can give a little, and in that allow people to come on around, and we warm up, and then they're also lights. They're also lights. Igniting. My purpose is to ignite something in people. Whether I'm igniting you to start a business, whether I'm igniting you to buy sunglasses and feel like a bad bitch that you are, whether I'm igniting you to take your spiritual journey, whether I'm igniting you to have a thought, even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, I always say, even if you don't agree with me, it's okay, because either way, it brings you closer to your truth. And I have been influenced by other lights. I'm not going to go into the fact that this is not a vain conversation, because if you don't understand that, you don't understand that. But there have been other people that I've watched that are a light in themselves, and I watched them and they ignited me. It's a domino trickling effect. Do you know what I mean? It's not about someone being better, more advanced, first, second, last. Literally, we are all in the same. We're all in this. We're all in this together. So what I want to discuss today is taking your purpose out of how you express it, and understanding that your purpose is just for me, and I think for I'm gonna be so bold to say I think for everyone, your purpose is to just be who you are authentically, and maybe you're authentically a server who wants to work for other people and help other people in the building of their thing. Maybe you're the person who wants to come up with the right idea. Maybe you're the person who has a pessimistic view on life, and you are saying all the negative faults that could happen, but you are going to help somebody fine tune something. Just authentically be you. Who are you at your core? I'm light, but I'm also darkness. I'm all things. I'm both. I just happen to often operate in my light more than my darkness, right? That's my preference. That's my mission. That's my calling. I can understand and relate to all of it because all of it's me, but I have things that I operate in more. I'm learning to feel more comfortable in my darkness, right? But that's not where I reside most times, because that's not my journey. But your purpose is not wrapped up in how you express it. And that's the big thing I want to talk about today, was that the ways that you express yourself and the things that you are passionate about are just literally the avenues that you are living out your purpose. That's why people think that their purpose is constantly changing, but your purpose is never changing. It's just how you express it that is changing. How you materialize it into the world. As a creator, how you create that into the world can change, because you're 15, you're 25, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're 70, you're evolving. Years have gone on, wisdom has been accumulated, you've changed. the world around you has changed, right? This wouldn't have been on a podcast 5-10 years ago. Podcasts weren't as popping. The world evolved. I evolved with it. But my core of what I'm here to do doesn't change. My purpose and who I am doesn't change. Just my expression of it. So, yeah, that's it for this episode, you guys. I am, as always, eternally grateful to Spirit, to myself for being present, being here, having this conversation. I'm so grateful for myself and you. I'm grateful for you being here, being present with me, sharing space with me, sharing time with me. I hope, as always, that this ignited something within you. I hope that we got to expand together. And I remember that in order to understand that we are limitless, we must understand our limitations. So what I want you to leave here today knowing is that your limit isn't capped out at what you're doing right now to express your purpose. Your limit isn't capped out there. You can change, you can pivot, you can express in different ways because all of it is just an expression of your purpose. Those avenues are just expressions, they are not the actual purpose itself. So that's it. I'm gonna go. Thanks for chatting with me, you guys. I love it here. Love you, love your life. Good luck. And I will catch you guys next week. Bye.